Escalation is about a Gotham City where Nightwing is taking over Gotham because Batman has to leave on Justice League business. It answers the question of what would happen to Gotham if Batman were ever to leave it and leave it in the hands of his protege Nightwing. So Nightwing returns to Gotham, and in episode 3 we saw him Batman finally moves away from Gotham, and episode 4 sees him kind of really coming face to face with the problems that are overcoming Gotham at the moment.
He's just kind of trying to adjust. He's trying to figure out what is going on in Gotham, how bad the spread of Eden Spring has been going, who's on his side, who's against him, who he can trust.
So the series is really about him finding his own way and stepping out from under the shadow of his mentor Batman and becoming his own hero.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Cinema Couch.
Today we have a special episode with the cast of Nightwing Escalation.
Hi guys, I'm Zach Abramowitz. I'm one of the producers on Nightwing Escalation, and I also play Antoine Rotelli.
Hi, I'm Jessica Mermelstein, and I play Oracle.
I'm Shannon Kendall. I play Selena Kyle, also known as Catwoman.
I'm Johnny. I play Nightwing.
Diana Cherkis. I play Helena Bertinelli, aka the Huntress. My name's Alyssa Simmons, and I play Dr. Azenato.
And I'm Alex Valderrama. I'm the director and producer. I also play Agent Nelson Brooks.
Me and Fady got a chance to watch this web series, and this was like a pretty amazing thing you guys put together here. It's got a deep story. It's really complex, and it's not just about action. It's about like the behind the scenes and like
It's more dialogue, which I
Yeah,
like. And I
it's
think you
very
guys are
dialogue.
introducing a lot of characters, and a lot of people probably, well, on one of them, I'm going to confess. I looked up I had to pause every time to look up half of these characters that you guys kept mentioning because I couldn't remember them since I was
Well,
a little kid.
I think that's what we wanted to do.
No, but I think it's awesome. Like, I think, like, for example, that The Visit, when you had the one with Alfred, I was like, oh my god, he's talking about Tim, he's talking about Jason. I'm like, sweet. Like, okay, where are they going to go with this down the road? Like, what are you guys planning on doing with this? And I think it's cool because you guys can totally branch out. I think that's what some of the movies are not doing.
Well, I think that's one of the things that's lacking in a lot of fan films is that they give you exactly what you want if you're just a comic book fan. You want to see Tim fight Dick, but there's no reason for that. There's no reason that Batman would fight Nightwing or Tim would fight Dick Grayson.
I mean, they've had it in some issues. They had it.
Red Hood.
But story-wise, but I mean, there's so many storylines that you can go with. But you know, because you guys mentioned so many characters throughout, and I don't know, and I know because it's in the beginning. So the question is to you: what are you planning on doing? If you don't want to give away too much, but
what am I planning on doing?
As far as like storyline, anything specific?
As far as the storyline goes,
he looks at me.
Batman left at the end of episode 3, so the next episodes deal with the aftermath of his leaving and how everything is burdened on Nightwing's shoulders now. And episode 3 I like a lot because it really starts everybody on the path they're going. With my character, with Diana's character, Shannon's and Zach's, and of course Johnny's. Catwoman is now more inclined to clean up the drugs. Huntress is still like going after the mob. You see Rotelli is making some power plays. I'm getting more lost and confused than where I am. And as well as Oracle, like guiding Nightwing along his path. So basically a lot of the series deals with how things get out of control for Nightwing. And I think he comes in a little bit arrogant, you know, not super prepared because I think he feels he can handle what's coming to him. But the threat is going to be a lot bigger than he thought it would. And he's going to have to learn to trust other people and really come to terms with who he is as a person, not just behind the mask, but in front of it as well.
Well, it's very well written too. Like we went back and analyzed why everybody's in the story.
I was gonna ask you how you guys went about.
We actually brought somebody back in the future episodes that it didn't make sense that this person was gone from the series. So we had to actually step back and say, well, why is this happening? We're very, very, very conscious of the story plot holes. We make sure that every hole that we could possibly fill is filled.
For the most part.
Yeah, for the most part.
I mean, not like Dark Knight Rises.
Oh,
yeah.
Is it plot holes?
There's a little bit.
Yeah,
plot holes there.
Of course, it's just a plot holes in Dark Knight.
No.
That's great. Dark Knight Rises.
You can answer every question with because he's Batman.
No, that's a joke.
Is that a Batman movie?
I believe so.
What is it? The Dark Knight Rises?
So,
it's the Dark Knight, not Batman.
You mentioned...
Yeah, you guys know why it's not called Batman? Does everybody here know why it's not called Batman?
No.
The Dark Knight? Because Jack Nicholson has that contract. Any film that has the word Batman in it, he has to get paid for.
That's what.
They had to pay him for Batman Begins. He got money off of that. He got a percentage of the profit. That's why he's like, you want to stop paying Jack Nicholson?
It's kind of mean, but yeah, I mean,
it's kind of greedy.
Yeah, so that's why it's called The Dark Knight.
Jessica, were you saying
well, I was
something?
just saying in
He's
terms
smart.
of
Wow.
in terms of writing of the script and stuff. You mentioned that there's a lot of dialogue. There's not a lot of action scenes, and I think what really. First of all, what really attracted me to this web series as opposed to other fan films is that this is like a story arc in a comic book as opposed to a one-shot or an Elseworlds. Sure. I see other short action films which focus on, hey, look at this cool thing that we can shoot and have done, and it's kind of like fanfic, for lack of a better word. Those are like one-shots or Elseworlds where you're like reading it and you're like, this is nice, this is like popcorn. But the web series is more like a dinner. It's more like this thing that you can bite into. And comic books have arcs that have to last for years. And, you know, they really have to get in-depth into character development and side stories. And they always accidentally generate plot holes, which they sometimes fix by destroying universes. But yeah, and
52.
So that's one of the things that I really like about Nightwing Escalation is that Nightwing Escalation to me is much more like a series of like an arc of a comic series as opposed to a single comic book, and I find that really impressive.
It's a very important point that I stand behind Alex on, because Alex and I always talk about how people just want the popcorn as opposed to the whole dinner. If it's not the popcorn right now and I got it, then it's boring or it sucks. But what Alex does is he takes these characters and he writes them so well that you really get into the relationships and the story, and there's a reason to care about them, and there's a journey, and they all have their own paths and they all intersect, and it's not just about, oh man, here's this awesome motorcycle scene and it's flying off a truck and there's an explosion and now it's Batman. And it's like, oh, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. Like, no, like Alex is totally committed to telling a good, solid story, taking these characters out of, I wouldn't say he's taking it out of the grand world of DC Comics or comic books in general, but he's grounding them and trying to give more of a way in that you can relate to as someone who is like, okay, we're just normal human beings, we're citizens, and there's other normal human beings and citizens, but they are more involved with the higher stakes of Gotham City and everything.
It's not just me, by the way.
It's more relatable.
Everybody.
What you started, Alex.
Yes.
Thank you.
See, the character development, I like that, because a lot of people don't know a lot of things about certain characters, and I think that's why your dialogue, that's why I like about it, because I'm actually like, wait, what is he saying? And I'm like, oh, he mentioned this guy. I'm like, oh, okay, so he's going with this somewhere else, and like it's like it makes you think, and I like that. It's not just about the shoot 'em up and blow up explosion action scenes. It's just it's a little more than that.
Well, I also think if you're doing comic book film, any good comic book film like Avengers or anything, they're going to have lots of comic book references for the fans to just like, oh, this company, oh, you said Osborn, oh, I know who that is. And then Spider-Man film, which we won't talk about. But like,
you're covering a lot. Like I've noticed a lot of these characters that you mentioned, and in each episode, there's like they come in threes. Like you said, 3 in the beginning of one episode, and then 3 at the end of the episode. And I was just like,
wow, yeah. Well, I have a contest on the fan page. Someone can name all the references. They win like a free poster.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
There was actually
or dinner with the director.
Hey.
Sure.
Male or female.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
And crypto.
There's one of the things that in the going back to the story that I wanted to bring up. When you said we're so involved with like how we related to comic books. I wrote The Visit, and Alex definitely helped me write it because I'm not by any means a writer. But there was a series in the graphic novels called Mobbed Up where Nightwing is actually, his leg is broken. And it actually refers to Nightwing. Alfred asks Nightwing, how's your leg? And that's what that refers to. Okay. So I mean, it definitely transcends from both the old school DC comics and what we're going to graphic novels and what we plan on doing in the future. So I mean, story content to us, I think is prime. You know, and I think that every character that we have has to have a reason to be there.
Yes, I mean that's what I like about these characters is because when I watch them, they really focus on character development, and you learn to care about these characters because you get very personal.
Or hate them.
You know, which is why I really like it. And with me, if I can't care about a character, I'm lost. I'm just like, okay, this is great. Yeah, I mean, I can go and watch, you know, certain movies that are all flash and bang and shabam, but I'm not going to remember them. See, and that's the difference, and that's why I really like these character developments.
Well, I mean, it even comes down to why you have to hate a character.
That too.
I mean, it's not just to love a character.
You have a feeling towards them, a connection.
I personally hate Darth Vader, and that's why he's such a great character to love.
Exactly.
Hey, you
mean hating Kristen?
He's misunderstood. Okay?
No, you're my son. Boom.
Being influenced by the dark side.
I did a film in 2009 called Batman Hot House. It's on dailymotion.com if you want to try and stick through it. I don't know why you would want to. But after it ended, I was in college and I was kind of getting disgruntled with the whole system. Actually didn't finish. I went and then I started the film and I had auditions. I met Johnny and he walked in with his long black hair and we started talking about Nightwing somewhere, you know, and fell in love, and then with this idea that we just do this one big fan film, and we didn't have the right people attached to the production at first. It took us a long time to get the right people attached. We've had producers come and go, and everyone has really given a little bit here and there, and I couldn't have done it without anybody involved. The web series idea just came out because the fan film was going to take too much time. I mean, it's taken, now we've been like, what, 3 years or something? So it's taken time. But now I really feel like I'm seeing like the fruits of our labor here. Like I feel like we have over 1,000 likes on Facebook. Yeah. We have all the support. We're going to Comic-Cons and stuff. I think, and this is like, that Rome isn't built in a day, they say, you know?
No.
I remember when the page had like 70 likes, and Alex and I were like, what the hell do we need to do to get this thing going? And I can tell you, I've been producing with Alex for like 2 years, and I have seen the trials and tribulations and the problems and the obstacles and the lack of stuff. And like, but I gotta say, like, as Alex said, like, we are at the point of fruition. Because with the incredible actors we have now, and the incredible crew, and the resources, and the fan base that we have, and Bobby Shake Shack, our amazing director of photography, we are really like coasting right now, and we're coasting like a G6, and we're gonna keep going. And it's going to be Nightwing Gangnam Style.
Oh, I have been in love with Batman since before I could read, because I actually was a very late reader. I'm very dyslexic. And Batman comics, Batman is not a lot of, he doesn't have a lot of words to say. He's very action-oriented, so I could get the idea of the comic without having to read it, and it very much inspired me to want to be able to read more and ingest more stories, and I could only do that by learning how to read. So it was a huge, also he has the superpowers, and I thought, well then I could be Batman, because Batman doesn't have superpowers, and I was like, Batman probably knows how to read, so I should probably get on this. And it was a huge, that and a tutor helped me pass dyslexia. And so I very much have been obsessed with Batman for many years. And I was actually at Dragon Con in Atlanta, and I saw I saw a
all the Batman.
I saw the ad on Actors Access or Casting Network, one of them, to play Oracle, and I was like, I have to answer this, and I was begged, borrowed, and cheated my way into somebody's business center. I'm not even sure how, and I got on the internet and applied for it, and I was like, I'm away, please don't cast this without me, you need to see me, I need to be a part of this, and he obliged, and was very excited to see that I was a real life nerd, and that I was at Dragon Con, and I had cosplayed as Batgirl before, so yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. I had auditioned for a project they were working on called Losers. It's a pilot that they're working on, and like that night he texted me to like
basically put me on hold for a minute and just say like, you know, like I want to work with you and stuff like that. And then a couple days later, I was rolling silverware at work, just ecstatic to finally like be almost home. And he texted me and asked, you know, do you want to come on to my project as Catwoman? We have to like shoot really quickly to get it in to the end of the episode. And I was like, yes, do it. Because I grew up, my brothers were like gamer nerds, and I grew up hanging out with them. My family's very close, and so I was completely, I'd been watching the cartoons and everything since I was a little kid. So I was really, really excited, and it kind of went from there.
She came in to audition for my pilot, Losers, and she was amazing. And Alex is also one of my co-producers on Losers.
And Carlos is the great director.
Carlos is the best director. And
besides Alex.
Carlos, you owe me a check. And, no, I'm just kidding. But immediately, Alex was like, because we needed to recast Catwoman, and she was absolutely a perfect fit. So she got 2 parts in like the same week.
Boom.
And she did great in both.
There you go.
And I believe Diana as well. You sort of got a 2-for-1 deal, right? Because you're also you have.
No, I ended up doing Losers with you guys, but I had already been.
You were already part of Nightwing.
I've been Huntress for.
She was in Nightwing since Dark Days.
Were you on the project before me?
No.
No, not that long. But there's a lot of people in Nightwing.
Because there were a bunch of people who were already involved when I got involved. Because I remember my first audition, I walked into the room and there were like 10 people behind the table. It was like Alex and like pretty much what looked to be the entire cast already back there.
Only a few of whom are still involved today.
But I didn't know that at the time, and I was super nervous, and I'm naturally, I think we were like giggly, and I was like cracking jokes, which is so not Huntress.
Or Diana.
They did cast me, and I remember Alex saying like some of the people behind the table like thought you were too silly and giggly, but I saw an angry, vengeful person. And I was like, you get me.
Humor, you get me.
Because I so identified with Huntress, and I'll be honest, I'm familiar with like the Batman comic books, but Huntress is not super common and certainly hasn't made it into any of the like mainstream stuff. So I didn't know a lot about the Huntress before I was cast, and Alex ended up giving me a ton of research about her, and the more I found out, the more I realized I really do identify with her. And then I met all of the other girls who were involved in the project, and I was so excited for once to see the female characters holding their own in these scripts, and that it wasn't just here's Nightwing and here are the guys and here's some arm candy. Like,
it is girls in leather.
Real.
Oh, we are in our underwear.
Yeah, both of you are in your underwear.
Okay.
All the time, always.
But as I was saying to
always
Shannon
in underwear.
Outside, like every project I ever worked on, I'm in my underwear. So
I feel like
it's not comic book exclusive. It's just being
an actress in New York.
Actress in New York in your
every project you will.
We're not talking about rehearsal, Diana. We're talking about
the point is
we want to watch the rehearsal.
That I appreciated being a strong female superhero who is holding her own and who actually is going farther than the guys. I mean, Huntress is more violent than Nightwing, angrier than Nightwing.
You're not Nightwing, that's what you're looking
But I like that.
Angry. I think you are more naked than Catwoman as well.
Back to that topic.
Because I do have a
I like how we just went back there.
No, she's just saying how she's more. She's saying how she's more
violent. I'm not
each person, so she was like Nightwing.
She's wearing a towel.
Less clothes is more.
You have a robe. I have
I'm not
robe. You just get flashes.
It's not a contest.
I have to strip down eventually.
Sweet.
And
When are the
Check.
boys in their underwear? We need underwear.
Yeah,
clad males.
I have a fan.
Rotelli and Chaco
right,
had
right.
a bed scene in the opening season.
Johnny has to spend the whole time
You and I
in
think so.
spandex, so I don't know why we're complaining.
Yeah, why are you guys
It's
complaining?
superheroes. Superheroes are.
I wasn't
all the
complaining.
Hispanics.
Johnny is freezing on the streets.
Oh my god. This guy loves to film on rooftops in March. That's like the coldest time.
How do you think Superman felt in that last
I felt so bad.
He's fine.
He's
Superman.
It's alright, he's Anthony. It's not a big
A
deal.
little extra spandex, another
I
layer.
feel like at least you weren't wearing fishnets and leotards.
Were you filming on
Echo.
Wearing
God
Echo
bless him.
fishnets and leotards, and that's it.
Wasn't exactly warm
Everyone
weather,
else is like furs and layers of coats, and these girls.
God bless him.
But that's
Exactly, I had a
the
coat on
sacrifice
each.
that we have to make sometimes.
That's right.
Yeah, the other
it
week I was
sucks,
shooting on the beach in the snow in a tank top.
Oh no.
Last week?
Yeah, last week.
Oh,
Was that short film?
Yeah, it was the Gears of War film.
Ooh, here's a war film.
Me coming on set was very interesting. I met Alex last year, and this is going to show how social media is like the thing right now. So I went to Comic-Con last year.
It's actually been the thing for
And,
quite a while.
well, no, I'm just saying for networking, which is really interesting to me. Yes, I know, but that's fine. I'm just saying I find it interesting. So, I went to Comic-Con last year, and I finally decided to do, because my roommate finally convinced me, because I'm a cosplayer, and finally convinced me to do Babs. So I did Batgirl. Last year.
No, hold on, I'm sorry. Not to interrupt, but you were, which I'm going to do.
Which you do what you're doing. Anyway, keep going.
You were Black Widow, right?
There was a shoot that I did, and it ended up looking more like Black Widow than I did Batgirl. But it was a casual Batgirl on the streets who ended up meeting Bane. That was something that I set out. That's the photo shoot I did with Alex. But I went to Comic-Con. I got lots of photos. I ended up getting a certain photo with some New York police, which was really fun, and that was really cool, because they're like, oh, can we take a photo with you? I'm like, only if I get one too. So
who were you cosplaying as, Alyssa?
I was cosplaying Batgirl. And it was really great. And on Instagram, I of course put, I tagged Comic-Con, New York, and Brooklyn, and then all of a sudden I got I got a message going, oh my gosh, we're working on Nightwing, as a web series, and oh my gosh, we would have loved to have you like on the show or something like that, because it's Batgirl, it's great, so I was like, that's cool. So we ended up talking more. We wanted to do some photo shoots, which is what you saw, which was the casual Babs with Bane, who I ended up meeting a friend on another set, and I was like, this has to happen. And so we've been doing photo shoots for a while, because we're both comic nerds, and it's awesome, and it's really fun. And then all of a sudden, and he's always talked about the series, and I've watched it, and it's wonderful, and you guys are great. I love it a lot. And so eventually, no, you are. I enjoy the series. I've been trying to promote it as best as I can to all my friends, because they're also nerds as well. And eventually, what is it, this week? Was it this week?
Yeah.
A few days ago, I got a text or message saying, are you interested and available on April 12th? I was like, why? They're like, because there is a role for you. I was like, oh, yes, absolutely. Just to be able to support other people that are, doing what I love doing. I'm in musical theater, by the way. I'm slowly moving into film. And so I thought this was a wonderful opportunity to work with friends and other nerds into creating something that I thought was probably more worthwhile, than a lot of the stuff that's out there right now. So
it's really interesting as we were going down the line and we're hearing how we got involved, and every single one of us, when we were offered the role, all of us were like, yes, please, yes, we need to do this. Like, we're all very
except for Johnny,
excited.
I really talked him into it.
Well,
Johnny's like, no.
I'm like, spandex? Unitards?
We're all really, very excited and committed to be here, where this is not just another acting gig to us.
No.
This is sort of like a dream come true for a bunch of us.
Yes, absolutely.
I actually think that we have the perfect cast with that mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody wants to be on this, and thankfully we're able to oblige everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Alex and I probably have had a couple, I don't want to say fights, but you want to be on too?
Yeah, you got a roll for a black man and a hero?
Static shot. I'm going to go with static shot.
Not black.
Yes, please.
African American.
Electro. That could work out.
It's happening.
We're not working. This isn't working.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Rod, just put it out there. Rod's like, static shot. Put it out there.
I'll shave my beard.
You may have to end up being in your underwear, though.
That's fine.
That we need to even it out.
That's what we do. On Nightwing.
Level the playing
Spandex is
field.
guaranteed.
A long time ago, I did a short documentary on the Dark Knight called The Dark Knight Tribute. This is a funny little piece. It was after, it was Halloween after The Dark Knight had come out, the second film.
Oh, okay.
And I took my friend Abe, who's a cosplayer, as Batman.
He's also Batman in our series.
He's also Batman in Nightwing Escalation.
Was he dressed as Batman?
He was dressed as Batman.
Was he?
Yes,
Batman was not.
You've never
dressed
seen
as
this?
Batman.
I did not know.
You've never seen
Oh,
We need to recast Nightwing.
Yeah, let's go with Jamaal.
Let's go with Jamaal. Jamaal make a great Nightwing.
About time.
It's a
I think the fans would actually probably like you more.
Actually, Johnny, this
Don't say that. You're
That's terrible.
Come on.
See, I think I set that
Read
a lot
some of the
because I knew they would
comments.
say
Read some of the comments on YouTube. It's
People
it's
say
horrible.
You should
People say
not
all
read the
kinds of things.
comments.
There's always going to be
I
haters.
have to.
Yeah,
Don't read
No.
comments
Don't
are
do it.
awful.
And the
About
haters-
everything.
the
This is
haters
what you need to learn about
I
comments.
derailed your train.
Look
just
how
by
many
mentioning
bad
something
comments
about
there
him.
are, and then look how many dislikes there are.
Yeah.
I bet you there's more bad comments than dislikes.
Yeah.
They just want to say something.
Well,
They do.
That's,
Yeah,
YouTube.
they
you
just
don't
wanna
look at
speak up,
YouTube.
man.
You have to
YouTube
understand,
does not count,
though,
sorry.
for me, this character has been something I've always wanted to do. So to me, it's almost a personal jab when I hear somebody say, "Oh, well, you know, his voice is off. He's not big enough. He's this. He's that." It's like,
Well, I mean, of course, they're personal jabs. They're about you, but the point is that you have to learn to not take it personally.
It's better
They're
that somebody's
really
talking about you, whether it be positive,
Yep.
negative, or not talking
There
about
is,
you.
Yeah.
there is no such thing as bad.
Yes. If they're talking about you,
Exactly.
more power to them.
People who like you watch it once. People who hate
Right.
you watch it 5 times.
Exactly,
Not more
like
specifically
your fan.
on the
Like
thing
very,
you
very
hate it
recently.
so
So
much.
all press is good press, right?
There you go.
I have a web series, Raptor Hunter, and I got a disgusting hate letter. My first response was I was actually touched.
I
Seriously,
to comb
I
through
thought it
and
was
watch
sweet.
everything.
Like this person sat down for 10 minutes and like thought out like the most hateful thing that they could say to me. And I was touched because
really
this
that
person
bad?
really like
Haters
felt
are bad.
compelled.
You affected someone.
But exactly.
That's what that means.
Exactly.
They didn't watch it and go meh. They watched it and felt so
I'm gonna let them know how I
strongly
feel.
about
With
your
Zach
work.
Abramovitz.
No, that's
So-
good. You made someone.
So I was, so you know, the haters they just need to say something, and you know, you really shouldn't take it personal because
They're just gonna hate
they
you.
just
You
need
know,
they just need something to do.
Honestly,
But my absolute
people
favorite
actually-
episode 3 comment is someone said that none of it, there was no good acting in the entire episode.
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, that's great. I love
None
it.
whatsoever.
Well, you
Nah,
have to
never
understand
sucks.
too.
So
it's
they
like-
watched the entire episode.
People
They did.
right.
People who are actually doing what we're doing, who are putting themselves out there and pursuing this career and this life and these goals, aren't the ones who are going to hate on other people doing the same thing that they're doing. The
Right.
people who are hating on us are not involved in anything.
Yeah.
They're not doing
Right.
anything.
They see
So
the
they
show
don't
as
understand.
fans.
You know, they're living their life something else, but it's they're hating on something that they're not involved in whatsoever. So I can't get offended at someone
Who
who doesn't know what they're talking about.
It's true.
Telling me that I suck.
To be fair, nobody said that about Catwoman, to my knowledge.
also, it's easier when you're not a character that's already been developed.
Yes.
This is
I mean,
tough.
This is
you're talking about Batman, Nightwing, Catwoman, Barbara Gordon, the Huntress. I mean, not to single you guys out, but you guys have it a little easier where you guys could
Right, because you come with an
Yeah,
expectation.
more creative
Exactly.
freedom.
Right.
You gotta
Yeah,
mess
yeah.
up.
Very
We-
high expectations.
By getting into this, we know what we're getting into. So we know
Absolutely.
that there are going to be people that are never going to be happy with our portrayal
Of course.
because we have been unhappy with other people's portrayal, and as nerds ourselves, we can understand
Yeah,
that
I get
mindset.
it.
So we know what we're getting into, but you know, still
We-
don't
But we're
be
not going to
people
go
do
out
it
in
so
public
every
and blast and say this
I
is the
will.
worst thing I've ever seen except Alex.
People do
Because
that to
you
even
can't do other
mainstream
than that.
Batman films. Look, they digitally altered Christian Bale's voice because people weren't satisfied with him being able to do it.
They digitally
Like,
altered
they spent
Bane's voice.
millions of dollars.
Bane.
Oh,
Oh.
is
Guys.
it Bane
It
also?
was Bane.
No,
Gosh.
Christian Bale
Christian
also.
Bale,
Christian
yeah,
Bale too.
yeah.
Yeah, Christian Bale too, yeah.
That's not
Because he
Oh,
destroyed his
wow.
voice trying to
Mention
do
your
a voice
voice
during the
all
first
day
Batman.
doing that.
He
Yeah,
didn't
it's
have
fine.
that deep voice. So you say people say like you're not doing the Nightwing enough voice because in their head, you know, you read the comics and everybody has like a slight variation.
Well,
That's
wait,
another-
wait,
what
wait.
the ideal character sounds like. Because how Yes. many people have played Batman?
This
So
is-
everyone has an opinion, and it never quite sounds on screen like it sounds in your head, or never quite looks on screen the way it
Well-
looks in your head. And that's what you can't compare yourself to someone's imagination.
Michael Keaton's is by far has like this tone which is just like I'm Batman. Like
Yeah.
he's just like
It's very flat also.
So when he's Batman, when he's Bruce Wayne, he's very like, oh, you know.
No one has portrayed Nightwing with two voices because in the TV show, it's the actor uses his same voice.
Yeah,
he doesn't use a different voice either in the movies, and he doesn't use a different voice in the TV in the cartoon show in the animated series. So there's no precedent for Nightwing having to have a separate voice from Dick Grayson.
I don't think that he's. I also don't think that he's a prominent figure in Gotham that way he would need.
Right,
to
he doesn't need to.
Yeah.
He's been living in Bloodhaven for I don't know how long. So there's no, and he's never felt this need to split his identity. I mean, Batman went through a serious trauma. Not that Nightwing didn't, but his trauma, the way that he dealt with his trauma is different because Nightwing had Batman to help him through that trauma. He doesn't have that serious dichotomy of like an emotional
split personality
issue.
kind of.
Yeah, he doesn't have this deep.
Right.
He has issues, but he doesn't have the really terrible deep-seated thing
'Cause he
that
wasn't
makes
lonely.
Batman actually crazy.
Well, that's what I actually like about the Batman and Nightwing dichotomy, which is actually probably better than any other. Like the Dick Grayson Bruce Wayne works perfectly because
I agree.
he went through the same ordeal, but he didn't.
He wasn't alone.
But he didn't take it out on Bruce. Bruce took it out on the world.
Exactly.
He took it out on Gotham. Dick was able to kind of harness that and say whatever. Like, and now you take the Damian. The Damian Wayne, the only sequence
He makes
that
my head hurt.
The only sequence that Damian Wayne works is in the Batman and Robin with Dick as Batman.
Yes.
Because it gives us that same
That's that same
dichotomy.
thing.
But now
But it's the opposite.
Now it's Batman.
Yes.
The
Exactly.
cheerful-
Exactly. But that's what I mean. Like, I don't understand
Yeah.
why anybody would attack and say, "Oh, this guy's voice isn't. You know, he's not using a Nightwing voice."
The moral of the story, Johnny, is
Who cares about it?
Johnny?
Listen, Johnny.
It's good.
Johnny.
Oh,
He's a
man.
watch.
Look,
He's on
Johnny.
Yeah.
Look over
Johnny.
there, okay? Let me tell you something right
Okay.
now. Hate spreads the love. So let him hate.
I'm quoting Cat Williams here. If you don't have 20 people hating on you, you're not doing something right.
Ooh, I like that.
There you go.
No,
There we
it's
go.
true because people are paying attention.
I guess, yeah.
That's right. Antoine Martelli is one of the henchmen for the Joker. Well, he's not one of the henchmen, really. He's one of the board members in the first Batman, 1989
Oh
Batman.
yeah.
He gets killed by the buzzer.
He gets killed by the Joker.
Yeah.
By the
Is he the one that
buzzer.
tries to say no, and he's like, "What if we walk away?"
You guys should totally trade roles now.
After
Absolutely.
today, I'm gonna watch my Blu-ray.
Oh,
Straight up Batman's.
But it is a reference, and now Alex took the character and made it bigger. And when I saw that Abe was playing, Abe from my documentary, The Dark Knight Tribute, was playing Batman and Nightwing, I reached out to Alex about becoming involved in the show. And he had this part that he was developing, Martelli. I took it, we did it, it was great. Naturally, I ended up becoming one of his producers just because him and I, we get it, and we're on the same page, and it's been a good experience, and he's become one of my best friends.
Are you talking about the character? I mean, yes, I am your best friend. Thank you.
Oh, he's
I'm
my
talking about
best
the
friend now.
Oh, clarification.
He's my best friend.
I am your best
Excuse
We're
me.
talking about his
But-
character.
okay.
We're talking
Yeah.
about it.
But, so Ratelli is part of the mob. I don't know how much, Alex, you want me to say in terms of moving forward with spoilers, but I will say he is, he wants to run the business, the mob business in Gotham City, and he has
doesn't.
He doesn't,
Yeah.
at the moment, but he wants to.
Yeah.
And he's trying to rise, and I have to deal with all of the supervillains and the drug pushing and Gotham GCPD and these people over here, especially this guy. I'm trying to run a business down here, you understand me? Huh? But that's my whole portrayal of Antoine Martelli. That's how I do it.
Yeah.
So it's been fun. It's been a lot. It's fun to play this character.
I think your interpretation in episode 3 was awesome. By the way, I mean, not to, kiss
I liked it better in
No, no, no,
episode
no.
one.
Awesome.
No.
Well, I definitely,
awesome.
I did my work like I would on any other character. I had points of inspirations, and I'm able to do whatever I want with it, which is great. I mean, I have the freedom to create this role, and Alex lets everyone else do the same thing, and that's how it totally should be. I mean, there's a collaboration that takes,
of course.
takes place. So.
But when you read, people don't understand when you read something on paper and then you hear it, or when you see a character perform it, it's always so much better than when you're reading it on paper.
Right. Well, that's why we have actors. It gives the role life.
Exactly.
It never ceases to amaze me to see the performers doing the performances. And that to me is amazing.
When can we expect something from you guys next? When can we expect things?
Well, we begin shooting season 2 in less than 2 weeks.
Ooh,
so
yeah.
Hopefully we'll get it all done at one weekend. I hope, and then edit it because get the episodes out there. If anything, there will be a Nightwing the series trailer, which will encompass everything we've shot up to this point, and like catching up the viewers up. And then after that trailer ends in the same video, there will be a trailer for the season 2, like what we'll shoot that weekend.
Very cool. Have you planned how many episodes you want season 2 to be?
How many did you write, actually?
Yeah,
Johnny and I have written about like 4 or 5 now.
We've written probably close to about 100 pages worth of script
material. We change things around as we go. There is a new format of the show. It's going to be released when we do the next season. Will be that there all be 10-minute increments instead of like 20-minute long episodes. I think it's going to be more viewer accessible that way.
I'm a fan of that.
We look forward to seeing you guys back on set, back on film, and Nightwing,
back in action.
Thank
Very
you.
Cool stuff.
And we're gonna do. There's gonna be a little more fight scenes.
All the costumes.
More fight scenes.
Like everyone said, this has been built on character, so now we're taking that and going to the next stage.
But now
you know what we're fighting for.
Right.
Yeah. You get that both then.
You get a little popcorn this time around.
Yeah, I want to eat the dinner.
Popcorn and chicken.
Popcorn and dinner.
Chicken and
Alex.
Dinner and a movie.
Why don't you say something to the fans that we have on the Facebook page? Was it 1,100, 1,200?
Yeah, we have 1,050 something. I don't know. Wow, guys. When I started this web series, I didn't really... Honestly, I didn't know where it would go when I first started it. And when I started building the crew, and producers came and went, and there was a lot that happened behind the scenes, but everything that's led us to this point has not been possible without the support you've all given us. And I can't really express how much I truly appreciate that.
We actually have great.
Thank you.
We have great diehard fans.
You guys keep us going, so we'll keep
guys
going.
rock.
Amazing fans.
It's true.
Amazing fans.
It's because we're also fans.
You're great guys.
Because Johnny's so handsome.
That's why everyone tunes in to watch Johnny.
Johnny looks good in tights.
Yes, which we'll be seeing more of.
Yes, a lot more tights.
And underwear.
And the promised nude scene for Nightwing.
Underwear.
Johnny and his underwear.
I'm just sad that I get no fight scene.
You're a cripple.
Yeah, I know.
I said some pretty goddamn shit.
I thought it was obvious. It's obvious.
That's the love.
She's very respected.
She's all like, bah.
She's respected.
I'm ready. I got my scrum sticks.
I thought she could walk again. I'm confused.
Well, you're hurting my heart.
Alright, so the Cinema Couch would like to thank you guys for coming. And we
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
It's our pleasure. This is the reason I created this show, was to let everybody know about all this cool stuff that we might have passed up. We didn't know exists. Now more people will know about the show.
Definitely.
Because I want this show to be successful. I was watching, I was like, oh my god.
So
Finally somebody like is doing like a story-driven Batman instead of like, oh, let's just blow up stuff. Hey, don't blow up. Batman is setting a building on fire.
Parking garage fights.
It's like Batman is setting
So often. That's why if you need to beat someone up, go to a parking lot. Apparently, that's where it goes down.
Thank you guys for joining us. The link is in the description for Nightwing Escalation. Go check it out. You will not be disappointed. And we'll catch you next time.
Thank you very much.